Recording in progress.
We'll observe a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Honorable delegates, I greet you all today and welcome the Honorable Minister of Transport into the NCOP. Honorable Minister, you're most welcome as always. Thank you. Just two apologies for today. The chairperson has apologized because she is attending the COC meeting, and the House chairperson, Honorable Adebe, is unwell, but he is joining us on the virtual platform. The other announcement, honorable members, is that there is a challenge with the internet connection today, but the technicians are busy working on it, and the Chief Whip's office has informed the membership that they should try and swap. If any of the members are on the virtual platform, try and swap with a colleague that is in the House, just to be safe, so that all your questions will be answered, will be asked in the House and will be answered. Having said that, honorable delegates, I'd like to remind delegates that the rules, in particular sub-rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103 applies. And there's also been a request from the Honorable Minister of Transport that she has to attend a cabinet meeting or some cabinet engagement, so she will be leaving once she has done, and made a request that she be allowed to go through her questions and then she can take a leave, and thereafter we will continue with the amendment bills. Having said that, honorable delegates, we now go to the questions. And honorable delegates, I would like to also welcome the MECs who are on the virtual platform, the SALGA delegates. You're all welcome to the NCOP. I further like to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council rules, the time for reply by the minister to a question is 5 minutes. Only 4 supplementary questions are allowed per question. A member who was asked the initial question would be the first to be afforded an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. The time for asking a supplementary question is 2 minutes. The time for reply to a supplementary question is 4 minutes. The supplementary question must emanate from the initial question. Honorable delegates, I now call upon the Honorable Minister of Transport, Honorable Creasy, to respond to question number 318 as asked by the Honorable T.M. Kaunda for 5 minutes. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Honourable members, with regard to the resumption of mainline passenger services, on the 26th of October this year, the Department, through the Private Sector Participation Unit, launched a request for information to undertake market scoping to determine the private sector's interest in participating in the introduction of regional rapid transit services. On the following lines, the first would be Johannesburg, Polokwane, Musina. The second would be Johannesburg, Mbombela, Maputo. And the third would be Johannesburg, Villiers, eThekwini. The scope of the passenger rail RFI includes potential private sector participation, and the idea is to collect information on market interest, and on the basis of that information, to then put out a call for proposals. This is necessary, Honourable House Chair, because of the current financial position of PRASA and the fact that at this point in time, government doesn't have the resources necessary to resume these services on its own. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now go to the follow-up questions, and the first follow-up question will go to the Honourable Kaunda for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to Honourable Minister and all members of the NCOP and SALGA. Honourable Minister, thank you for your response, which is adequate, giving us the vision that you have to take this particular important journey with all South Africans. Will the Honourable Minister agree that the passenger rail transport is one of the most affordable, safe and reliable mode of public transport for most of the poor, the working class and the vulnerable? Against this background, what are the concrete plans of the department to reopen all the main long-distance passenger rail corridors in the country as part of the expanding access to reliable, safe, and affordable public transport to our people? I thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kaunda. Honourable Minister, your response to that?
At this stage, we are focusing on the 3 corridors that I have already mentioned, and the intention is that the request for information will close in December. And from that point, it will take us probably about 6 months to process the responses, depending on the volume of information we get. And from that process, we will then be able to publish the outcome of the requests for information, which we have already done in our freight sector with our requests for information. And we would then also be in a position to announce when we are likely to put out the relevant requests for proposals so that the formal tender process can start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now go to the next follow-up question, and that is from the Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson of the session, and welcome again, Honourable Minister, to the NCOP. Minister, it is the deep-rooted culture of greed and corruption of former PRASA executives and management that resulted in the mess with regards to the procurement of the locomotives, heavily impacting the poor. I used to travel by train whilst I was a student here in the city to my home in Kimberley in the Northern Cape. It was affordable, it was reliable. Today, many people are unable to visit relatives, search for jobs, or enjoy vacations due to the high cost of alternative travel. However, restoring, and I get the response that you've given us in terms of involving private players into rehabilitating and restarting the long distance trains. It is important that parallel to restoring long-distance trains, your department will facilitate the bidding for private individuals and capable local municipalities to rebuild and revitalize passenger train stations. What interventions have been deployed to ensure that, and decisively you deal with corruption to ensure that South Africans have access to affordable and reliable transport options? Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mokai. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you very much. I think that we fully agree with you, Honourable Member, that rail transport is safe. It is a preferred mode of transport because it has the possibility of being faster and also more environmentally friendly. Our focus in the aftermath of the COVID pandemic, which saw vandalization of most of the urban passenger lines, has been to repair the urban passenger network. And I can report to you that we have repaired 35 out of 40 priority lines in the urban network. We're now working on the remaining 5 lines. These would be lines that are more difficult to repair due to encroachment on the rail line or the rail reserve by communities, as well as the significant damage that was done to the line infrastructure. So that process continues, and we are also looking at additional ways of leveraging on PRASA's property portfolio so that we are able to bring in additional revenue into PRASA that would enable us to fast-track some of the repair projects that we are involved in. You would be aware that last week in Isipingo we launched a brand new shopping centre that we have built on PRASA land above the station in Isipingo. This shopping centre is already fully let, and obviously it's important in contributing to our revenue that will assist with the important work we have to do to refurbish and ensure that we have more urban passenger lines available. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now go on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Machoveni. I believe she's on the virtual platform, and I hope we do have connectivity. Honourable Machoveni.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Greetings to you and honourable members and Minister. Minister, safety and security still remains a major concern on passengers' trains, as criminals are attacking and robbing passengers. Despite the deployment of internal security personnel, what measures have you put in place to ensure the safety of the millions of working-class South Africans who rely on all trains as their primary mode of transport across the entire network? Thank you very much, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Machoveni. I didn't ask you to put on your video because I know the connectivity is not good and I didn't want you to be disrupted. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
Thank you very much. I absolutely agree with the honourable member. Safety of passengers is of paramount importance. I believe that there was a visit by the NCOP to the Gibela factory recently to see the new trains that we are taking possession of. We now have 300 of those trains that we have received from Gibela. Those trains are designed with security in mind. The driver has a full view of all of the coaches. There are security guards who ride on each and every train. There are special places for people with disabilities to sit. There are special coaches for students who would want to be using electronic devices during the journey. And I can report that passengers are satisfied that these new trains, both in design and in the presence of security personnel, are safe. And one is seeing a situation where people are openly using their phones and their laptops on these trains, and I think that that is an indication that passengers regard themselves as being in a safe space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next Honourable Member is Honourable van den Berg, who I think is on the virtual platform also. Honourable van den Berg. I don't think he's there.
Thank you. Minister, you have spoken to Tikli. Sorry, can you, am I audible?
Go ahead, Honourable van den Berg.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, you have spoken to involving private players, but when can we realistically expect the first of these passenger corridors to operate realistically? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable van den Berg. Honourable Minister, did you hear the question clearly? Okay.
Yes, I did. Honourable van den Berg, I think that we all need to recognise that if we are bringing on board third-party operators, we have already done that in the freight space. We announced the first 11 freight operators earlier I think it was in May this year. Those operators have indicated that it will take them between 12 to 18 months to become operational. So if we are talking about operators, then I think that within the next 2 years, we ought to see passenger operators on the long distance lines. If we are talking about new build, because there is interest and appetite for faster lines, then obviously that is a longer term process. The only rail build that I have experience of is the Gautrain, where it took about 3 years to reach financial close and about 7 years for the actual build. So I think that it is going to depend on what the market is suggesting as appetite, but it's obviously much quicker to bring on board new operators. But if we are talking about building new high-speed lines, then it will take longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of question 318. We now move on to question 326 that was asked by the Honourable Badenhorst that deals with electronic driver's license. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you very much for the question, Honourable Badenhorst. Yes, indeed, the department is open to digitization, to adopt new strategies and keep abreast with the latest technology to move towards a secure electronic driver's license. However, as you know, the department issued a tender for the current obsolete machine, and last year the Auditor General found that this tender was irregularly allocated. We have accordingly asked for a declaratory order from the court so that if the court agrees with us, it would be possible to set aside the current procurement process. This matter is set down for a hearing on an unopposed roll for the 6th of January 2026. So we are really hopeful that we could then move forward with this very important process.
Thank you very much, Minister. We now go on to the follow-up question, Honourable Badenhorst.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Minister, and the concern is moving forward with the process, we'll be moving forward towards the old system of printing physical license cards. Now, the Department of Home Affairs, under the leadership of Dr. Leon Schreiber, has already advanced its digital transformation program, which securely integrates national IDs, passports, and biometrics across a single digital platform. Since the system could easily accommodate electronic driver's licenses, can the Minister confirm whether any formal engagement has taken place between Transport and Home Affairs to integrate driver's licenses into that platform? Or does the silence on this topic mean there's no political will to go towards electronic driver's licenses? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Badenhorst. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Badenhorst. You would understand that I don't want to put myself in a position of prejudging the court outcome. But what I can share with you is the current situation, and the current situation is we're working closely with Home Affairs to provide an interim solution for the printing of driver's license cards. When the machine failed earlier this year, we landed up with a backlog of 800,000 license cards. when the machine was returned to us and it was fixed, we ran a 24-hour shift. In fact, we're still running a 24-hour shift. I can report to you that right now we've managed to reduce that backlog to 200,000 cards. And last week on Friday, Home Affairs gave me the samples that they would print for us through the MOU we have developed. And obviously, in the process of that MOU, there've had to be a lot of discussions about how we integrate our databases and what capabilities Home Affairs have, what capabilities we have. So I can report to you that we are getting to understand each other's systems, and we are getting to develop a working relationship that will help us with the current backlog. Let's wait until after the 6th of January. Then we can talk about the future. I won't forget.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister.
But let me also share, sorry, Deputy Chair, let me also share with you that we are working closely with the Presidency on the roadmap for digital transformation for government. And this is a very important project that we are involved in. It obviously involves Minister Malatsi's department as well. And the strategic intent of the roadmap is to modernize public service delivery through a whole of government digital transformation, whereby physical documents such as driver's licenses and identity cards could, in theory, be replaced with digital systems. So we are also part of that, and we find that a very useful partnership in terms of all of the work that we're doing in transport that would require digitization. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for that comprehensive response. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Modepe.
Well, thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Honourable Chairperson, the follow-up question that I prepared, I should think indeed the Minister has comprehensively responded to it. I'm largely covered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Modepe. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Makasini.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Minister, South Africa has relied on a single driver's license card printing machine since 1998, which has broken over 160 times, leading to the massive backlog, as we said.
Honourable Makasini, could you please put your video on, if it's possible?
I'm here, Chair.
That's better. Thank you. You may continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Minister, the South Africa has relied on a single driver's license card machine, printing machine since 1998, which has broken over 160 times, leading to the massive backlog. As we said, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the effort to procure a new machine and a new card system and the transparent to avoid the victim of irregularities of the tenders and the deep corruption which enjoy the ruling government of the day? So if you can tell us what plans accept the court outcomes of the 6th January. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. Honourable Minister, did you get the question clearly?
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. I think the first thing that we all have to agree is that once the court rules, we can't go on using the old machine forever. In fact, I'm sure Department of Transport officials will be the most pleased when this interregnum comes to an end. Because running 3 shifts a day and printing cards throughout the night, I don't think it's the way that we really want to be working. Once the court has ruled, we will either then have to go back to the service provider that was previously procured, and then there would be a new machine, or we would be in a position to look at the options that are broadly available to us. I think the most important thing we want to do is to make sure that people can receive their driver's license cards on time, that they can apply for those cards in a manner that is most convenient for them, and that the waiting time should be significantly reduced. And we should be able to say to the public, when you apply for your license, you will wait this long. And we should be in a position to make sure that we can honor that. I think what we've seen in Home Affairs is that they're now able to tell us when you apply for an ID, when you apply for a passport, you should be waiting for so long. And they make sure that they deal with those deadlines. I think that's the kind of service that the public expects from us. And once the current impasse is resolved, we will endeavor to make sure that we can deal with those standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next follow-up question from the Honourable Peter.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Greetings to the Minister. Minister, you have covered some of my questions. Only one, Minister. Why has the department refused to extend the validity period of driver's license? Just only that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Peter. Short and to the point. Honourable Minister.
I suppose that would be a new question, but I can answer it anyway. Honourable Peter, we haven't refused. When I was appointed, it was explained to me that the department had done a study on internationally what is the time period of driver's license cards before renewal. And that study, I read that study when I was appointed. It's an interesting study. It talks about that if you are having a public driver's license, so you're driving a bus or a taxi or a heavy vehicle license to drive a truck, in those categories, the suggestion is that there should be more regular renewal of those licenses, because you want to make sure that those people who are either driving very heavy vehicles that can cause significant accidents, or else they're driving passengers, they should be renewing at least on a 2-yearly basis, so that you're checking their eyes and other aspects. But with regard to the driver's license for ordinary citizens like you and I, the suggestion was that we go for a period of 8 years. And I think that is something that we view in a favorable light. The request that I made to the department, because you would understand that there are entities in the department, like the driver's license card entity, that is due to move to the Road Traffic Management Corporation. They are dependent for their revenue stream on the renewal of driver's licenses. So what I asked is, can we understand the financial implications if we make this decision? And I thought that that was a prudent question that I needed to ask before I make the decision. I'm not saying that one would make the decision even if there were significant financial implications, but I don't think that it is wise when you're in executive office to make decisions when you don't understand what are the unintended consequences of those decisions. I'm waiting for that study. Once I get it, once I understand the implications, I will be able to make a decision. And I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next question. That was question 315, that deals with the revitalization and upgrading of ports. The question was asked by the Honourable Molokome. Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you very much for this question. Transnet has approved a budget of 2.7 billion for capital investment in the port system for the current financial year of 25-26, and a total of 11 billion over the next 5 years up to 2029. To decrease backlogs and increase port volumes, Transnet has embarked on an extensive upgrading and maintenance program. The program has entailed maintaining and repairing aged infrastructure, procuring new equipment, and engaging OEMs to source spare parts. These measures are intended to address inefficiencies in the port and rail system and to contribute to the entity moving 250 million tons of freight annually by 2030. Transnet's approved capital investment budget for ports includes 102 projects currently under implementation. These comprise 39 expansion projects and 63 sustaining projects. Key implementation milestones for this port capital investment program include the planned commencement and completion of the following projects: new berths, 802 and 803 for chrome at Richards Bay, construction of the liquid bulk berth, A100 and associated infrastructure at the port of Ngocha, the expansion of container terminal phase 2B at the port of Cape Town, and berth and road refurbishment as well as rail infrastructure upgrades at Port Elizabeth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The first follow-up question will come from the Honourable Molokome.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honourable Minister, thank you for answering the question that I've raised. But let me just pose just one question to you because you have touched on the ports that I've already asked you. Honourable Minister, our ports are at the cutting edge of capital inflows and outflows as a critical economic activity, which the recent negative media reports about the state of our ports. Has the department considered the private partner participation for the maintenance, upgrading, and modernization of our ports? If not, why not? And if so, what are the relevant details? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Molokome. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. So, first of all, I think what has been an important development was the court decision on Terminal 2.
Honourable Adebe, can you please switch off your microphone? Honourable Minister, we apologize for that. Please continue.
So I was saying that one of the issues we welcome is the recent court decision to allow the private sector partner to participate in Pier 2 in Durban. You would recall that this matter has been in court for some time as the losing bidder was alleging irregularities. So I think that we are pleased that private-public partnership can now go ahead, and no doubt is going to result in greater efficiency at Pier 2 in the port of Durban. But what I can also say is that when we put out the requests for information at the beginning of this year, we did include not only the rail lines, but also all the ports. And obviously, we are in the process of looking at all of the information we received, but I can share with you that we will be putting out a request for proposal on the Richards Bay bulk mineral terminal before the end of this year. So private sector participation in the upgrade of our ports is definitely part of the equation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Badenhorst.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Minister, can you confirm that despite billions being allocated, historically and currently, South Africa's ports remain amongst the slowest globally, and I've just Googled it again. We have officially the slowest ports globally, purely because of Transnet's monopoly that prevents private and provincial participation, proving that port devolution is the only credible path to efficiency and investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Badenhorst.
I guess you had to sneak the D word in somewhere, Honourable Badenhorst. Look, I think that obviously you are referring to the recent World Bank study. And obviously, that study is definitely cause for concern. It did indicate that there are improvements in Cape Town, but it indicated that things are still very difficult in the port of Durban. What I found interesting, because originally when that study came out, the World Bank said to me, look, they have questions over the methodology. And I asked in what way do they have questions over the methodology, and they said, well, perhaps they would be doing a better study if they compared apples with apples. So they compared ports in developing countries with ports in developing countries and ports in developed countries with ports in developed countries. So if you are to compare our ports with Rotterdam, Singapore, there's no comparison. Even Dubai, those ports are 100% mechanized. I visited the port of Dubai. It is 6 times bigger than all of South Africa's ports put together. You drive around the 6 terminals there isn't a human being anywhere. The human beings are in a control tower, and everything is electronically operated. So obviously our ports can't compete in any way with that. But what I think is interesting has been the response of the freight industry to the recent developments in Durban, Cape Town, and also Port Elizabeth, where we have bought new cranes, new straddles, new haulers, and new equipment. And we have set a target for 105,000 TEUs a week. The week before last, for the first time ever, we made 104,000. And so instead of getting complaints week in, week out from the freight industry, I'm now getting all kinds of nice messages from the freight industry. I was very inspired when I went to Durban and I saw the new cranes that we've bought. I mean, they can operate in wind speeds of in excess of 90 kilometers an hour. The new RTGs, we've bought 28 of them for the Port of Cape Town. They can also operate in wind speeds in excess of 90 kilometers an hour. And so what you're seeing is that from the time in 2023 when it was taking 200 hours to turn a ship around, we're now at the point where we're turning ships around in 60 hours. And the consequence of that is that we're waiting for ships to come. Well, of course, it's better you wait for your customers than that your customers wait for you. The international benchmark is 50 hours to turn a ship around. So I think we're not doing badly. I'm very confident that in the coming fruit season, we're going to do extremely well in the Western Cape, which is very, very important for the Western Cape economy. And I'm also confident that we're not going to have the kind of log jams as all of the Christmas retail activity takes place in the Port of Durban. And I think that our consistent good performance since July is an indication that we can be confident of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now go on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Montwedi.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Minister,
could you please put on your video so we can see you?
I'm here. My network is very poor. Minister,
okay, that's fine.
in your response, you did speak of efficiencies when the private partner comes on board. Now, it is common knowledge, Minister, that the ANC has destroyed many national assets. Now, we know that your partners in the GNU have been lobbying for privatization of many of these national assets as a result of the mismanagement by the ANC government. Now, I want to find out from you, Minister, the decision to involve the private partner, is it an admittance that there is no capacity in government to ensure that the ports, the rail infrastructure are refurbished without bringing private partners on board? Are you admitting that government does not have any capacity? We are now taking the responsibility of government to the private sector to assist because government has dismally failed. Ke lebogile thata modulasetulo for tšhono e mphileng yone. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Montwedi. Honorable Minister, your response.
Honorable Montweni, I would dispute the fact that the ANC has destroyed many state-owned enterprises, but let me say to you that there has been private sector participation in our ports since the 1970s, so maybe you should do a bit more reading.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Farmer.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Minister, many revitalization projects can unintentionally harm marine ecosystems and coastal environments. Has your department conducted EIAs for each major port upgrade, and what mitigation measures are being implemented to protect coastal biodiversity and fishing communities? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Farmer. Honourable Minister, your response.
I like that question because I used to be Minister of Environment. So let me say to you that no major infrastructure project can go ahead without an environmental impact assessment. And it's very important to understand the purpose of environmental impact assessments. If you read the National Environment Management Act on which EIAs are based, the intention of the EIA is not to prevent development. It's to make sure that development takes place in a sustainable manner and to make sure that development takes place in a manner that minimizes or mitigates the impact on the environment and, as you correctly point out, on small fishing communities. So I am confident that Transnet, on all its major, in fact, on all its infrastructure projects, has to get an environmental impact assessment, and those assessments will prescribe the mitigation measures that are necessary so that the development is sustainable in environmental terms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of question 315. We now move on to question 324, which was asked by the Honourable Machobeni, that deals with the status of Operation Valazonke.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member, for this question. Honourable Member, the Valazonke program has not been involved at national level in the Buffalo City Metro, although we do have reports that at a provincial level, the provincial government has been involved. We tried prior to this question session to find out exactly what work had been undertaken by provincial authorities and how much money had been spent, but I regret to say that I haven't been able to get that information for you. Let me say that SANRAL is spending the larger portion of its national budget in the Eastern Cape. And the focus is on the upgrade of the N2 But there are also 10 associated projects that are dealing with the feeder roads for the N2 project and with upgrades to community road infrastructure that is along the N2 route. In fact, on Saturday, I was in the Eastern Cape opening the Ndabakazi interchange near Butterworth, where there is significant upgrades that have been done to the R409 because it is a feeder road onto the N2, and also upgrades that are taking place on the R63 in both directions. So I think that what we can do, if we are requested by the Buffalo City Metro, because you would understand that very often we have a situation where metros and smaller municipalities are not spending their MIG portion. About 17% of the MIG is supposed to be spent on road maintenance, but often because cities don't have yellow fleet, they're not able to spend that money. So we do offer a service if the relevant municipality comes to us and requests us to do the work, and they will pay for the work. We can also do that, but we haven't had that request from Buffalo City at this point in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The first follow-up question is from the Honourable Machobeni.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. On that note, Minister, the roads in the Eastern Cape are generally in a shocking state. By the state of the roads in that province, as 90% of roads in the Eastern Cape are gravel roads, with even the tarred roads being unbearable to travel on. As the issue of Buffalo City, as you mentioned here in Buffalo City Municipality, the potholes problem, there is a pothole problem, there is a complete right which Operation Valazonke has failed to fix. Minister, given that the vast majority of the roads in Buffalo City are beyond repairs, and also, if you still remember, you used to go that, maybe it's not you, other ministers, they used to go that side of the Eastern Cape. There's a road that travels to Ngadu Great Place that connects Butterworth and Iduchwa. Even to date, that road still a gravel road, it's a national road. It's not a provincial road because it connects these cities. But even to date, it's a gravel road. So that is why I'm asking this question, because at the end of the day, there's a crisis. I understand what you are talking about, that Ndabakazi road that was being built not a long time ago. It's only that road that attracts our people and tourists. If you can get deep in the Eastern Cape, roads are shocking. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Machobeni. Minister, I didn't hear a question there. It was just a statement about how bad the roads are. But if you want to respond, you may.
Well, I think that it's a matter of public record that the Eastern Cape has a significant backlog in terms of road infrastructure. And that is precisely why SANRAL has taken over 4,000 kilometers of road in the Eastern Cape at the request of different provincial premiers since 2012. Now, you know, honourable members, 4,000 kilometers of road is 3 times to Cape Town and back. It's halfway to the in fact, it probably is to the DRC. It's an enormous amount of road that we have taken over, and we've done it because we understand that the Provincial Roads Department has a significant difficulty on their hands. Having said that, it is important to share with you that in the last financial year, the provincial department received 2 billion rand in the conditional grant for road maintenance and road upgrade. And in the current financial year, because we've all had a bit of a haircut, 1.7 billion rand. Now, that's a lot of money. What we also know is that many of the municipalities are returning the MIG to National Treasury. And because of that, we have set up a SALGA working group to try and work with municipalities to understand why this money is not being spent and to look at ways in which we can facilitate spending so that we can contribute year after year to the severe difficulties that you are referring to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question comes from the Honourable Madupe.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Honourable Minister, let me first express appreciation of the innovative efforts by some provinces in partnership with the National Department for reassigning some provincial roads to SANRAL to ensure sustainable, efficient and effective maintenance. I'm taking a tune from what you said, Minister, in agreement that indeed the state of roads in our municipalities, especially metropolitan municipalities, leaves much to be desired. Against this background, Honourable Chair, what are the plans of the National Department and the Provincial Department to provide support and capacity to municipality to address this challenge in line with Section 154 of the Constitution? And secondly, what are the challenges faced by the municipality in effective and efficient utilization of the relevant infrastructure grant to address the road infrastructure maintenance? I know partly, Honourable Chair, the Minister has responded, but we will want the Minister to share with us what are the challenges, especially if municipalities are furnished with the grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Madupe. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
I think I would want to add two other issues for consideration by this House. The first one, Honourable Member, is that we do have to interrogate the standard of work that is being done by contractors in the upgrade of roads. And at our MINMEC meeting, which we had on Friday, we have approved standards for the upgrade of roads and the way in which roads should be built, depending on the category of the road, and the standard that should be followed in terms of maintenance. We think this is very important because when a road is built or when a road is upgraded or maintained, it must be done at a certain standard so that the money that is spent is effectively and efficiently used, and you don't have to come along the following year and do the work again. So I think this issue of standards is very important, and that means that when provinces and municipalities procure services, they must procure according to those standards. Secondly, I think that we do have to accept that with the scale of the road infrastructure problems municipalities face, we do have to look at whether the equitable share is adequate for municipalities. And in that regard, in this working group that we've set up with SALGA, we are looking at that. So on the one hand, we're trying to understand why is the municipal infrastructure grant for road maintenance being returned by municipalities to National Treasury? Is it a problem of project preparation? Is it a problem of not having the necessary service providers? Because what we understand is, particularly in rural provinces, the majority of engineers are in Gauteng, the Western Cape, and KZN. So you would find that municipalities in rural areas don't actually have engineers, and that obviously impacts on project preparation and spending of the municipal infrastructure grant. But I think that we also have to accept that we do have municipalities that are spending all of what they have on what they should be spending it on, and those municipalities do require more money. And so this is something that we are looking at in our working group with SALGA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Dr. Chris Kokol.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Minister, Operation Valazonki was meant to fix potholes, not to become another pothole for the public of South Africa. And as you have now informed the House, you don't have the number or a ballpark figure of how many roads have been rehabilitated in Eastern Cape or maybe even nationally. So can we conclude that maybe Valazonke has ended up in a huge bureaucratic pothole? If not, how do you intend to get out of this pothole? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister, your response, please.
Well, Honourable Member, I think we must understand what Operation Valazonke was set up to do. The first thing that it was set up to do was to set up a reporting mechanism for the public in terms of potholes, because you can't start working out whether you've got enough money to fix the problem if you don't know how big the problem is. So I think that what Operation Valazonke has done is it's successfully collected a lot of data on where infrastructure is in a very poor quality, and that data has also helped us from a perspective of SANRAL when we consider which roads we should be agreeing with provinces to take over. And obviously, we have got certain set criteria that relate to whether this is an access road onto a national highway, what kind of produce is being carried on that road, and their various criteria. But I think understanding the gravity of the state of the particular road is also very important to us. And this is desktop information. You don't have to dispatch a team of engineers. Where I think that Operation Valazonke is useful from a pothole fixing point of view is that obviously we are engaged in certain municipalities in assisting to fix potholes. So one of the municipalities where we've done a lot of work because there was a very serious disaster is Mahikeng, where the main street was just you couldn't really travel on it. So I think that that has given us certain capacity to use our budget in situations where there is extreme need. But it's not realistic to think that at national level we can fix all the potholes in the country. We don't have the money to do that. What we've got to make sure is that the money that is going to cities and to provinces is being properly spent. And that even if we all accept you can't do everything at once, there must be a proper queuing system so that I think what citizens want to know is when will it be fixed? And this is what we're trying to establish is in a sense a proper queuing system so that we can give certainty to people how long they have to be patient for, because nobody's patience can last forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We go on to the last follow-up question. That is from the Honourable Nsimande.
No, thank you, Honourable Minister. You have partially responded in some or in terms of my question, but I will expect you to elucidate a little bit in respect to whether your department intends to review or strengthen its cooperation with provincial and municipal structures to ensure sustainable maintenance of repaired roads rather than repeat patchwork interventions. I'm asking this deliberately because we shouldn't be taking the closure of the potholes as a short term, not necessarily as a long term, so that we are able to contain and use efficiently our resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Nzimande. Honourable Minister, your response.
Honourable Member, we should not be taking fixing potholes as a short-term measure. We shouldn't land up where we have potholes in the first place. Because if routine maintenance is done, it costs a fraction of what it costs to start dealing with potholes. I mean, the truth of the matter is that by the time a road has a pothole, the structural integrity of the road is significantly damaged. And I spoke earlier about the standards that we are developing for road maintenance and for road building. And first of all, that is intended to say that every so many years you must be filling the cracks. Every so many years you must be putting a layer of tar on. It talks about the routine maintenance, but it's also talking to whether it's feasible in certain stretches of the road to fill the potholes. I mean, I have been on roads where I won't call them potholes. I'll call them dirt roads with pieces of tar that interfere. Now, in that situation, you've got to rebuild the road. You can't patch it. So that's part of what I think the standards are about, is saying what is the appropriate remedy for what kind of problem. When myself and Deputy Minister were appointed, we found that the engineering capacity in the Department of Transport at national level was significantly depleted. And we are in the process of reappointing that engineering capacity. And that engineering capacity is very important because we are giving provinces conditional grants, big grants. I mean, 2 billion is not pocket money. So those engineers have to be looking at how are those grants being spent, and are they being properly spent, and are they being appropriately spent. They're going to be helped by these standards that we've developed, but it is necessary to conduct engineering oversight over the roadworks that are taking place. And that is part of the capacity that we've been rebuilding in the department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That concludes question 324. We now move on to question 337 that was also asked by Honourable Nzimande, dealing with the government support for Transnet. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. So I think the first point that we need to make is that government's funding support to Transnet has to be considered within the broader fiscal requirements, as well as the state-owned entity's ability to leverage its balance sheet to access external funding. Direct funding from the fiscus was provided to Transnet in 2023 to deal with flood damage and to address funding of locomotive repairs and maintenance. Additionally, over the current medium-term expenditure, Transnet has been allocated funds through the budget facility for infrastructure to finance key projects in ports and rail. The Department of Transport and National Treasury monitor Transnet's financial risk in order to provide appropriate funding support to ensure that the state-owned company continues with its capital expenditure program. So what I can share with the honourable member is that the amounts that were provided was 5.8 billion in 2023, and the current amount allocated for the MTF is 3.3 billion. The current guarantees amount to 99.6 billion, and this allows the entity to leverage off its balance sheet. Potential new corridors have previously been conceptualized and planned. However, the dispensation brought about by the National Rail Policy envisages the involvement of the private sector through investment in rail infrastructure development. To this extent, the request for information initiative was announced to look at the possibility of financing high-speed rail and rapid rail transport modes. All corridor development proposals must be subject to detailed business case identifying economic and financial benefits, and these new corridors have not yet been approved as they are dependent on funding availability and collaboration from other spheres of government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The follow-up question will come from Honourable Nzimande.
No, thank you, Chair. The next question, the follow-up question is whether the Minister will provide a detailed breakdown of Transnet current liquidity shortfall, including the maturities that triggered Moody's risk concern and the steps taken to avoid a default scenario.
Thank you very much.
Can I repeat? It's like she didn't pick it up. I was too quick.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nzimande. The Minister will respond.
I think that's a new question, Honourable Nzimande, with technical information I don't have, but we'll give it to you in writing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We go to the next follow-up question from the Honourable Molokome.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honourable Minister, allow me to join Honourable Kaunda in the preceding question about the crucial role of freight and passenger rail transport in our economy by specifically emphasizing the critical question one that he has asked before, Minister. So I want you to make more emphasis on that. Whether there is any plan to prioritize the reopening and certain freight and passenger rail corridors in order of strategic important current medium-term expenditure framework, given the state of the national fiscus.
Thank you very much, Honourable Molokome. Honourable Minister.
So, Honourable Member, there is definitely intention from government to move freight back from road onto rail. Currently, at the end of the last financial year, we were carrying 161 million tons of freight on the Transnet network. The target by 2029 is to increase that to 250 million tons of freight. What that means is that we've prioritized 5 corridors. So the first corridor would be the general freight corridor that runs from Gauteng to Durban. The second corridor would include the magnetite, chrome, and coal line that runs from northwest Limpopo to Richards Bay. The third one would be the Sishen-Saldanha line, which is the iron ore and manganese line. Then there would be the manganese line that runs from the Northern Cape to the port of Ngqura. And then, of course, there is the auto line that runs from PE to Gauteng. So those priority corridors have been prioritized for private sector investment. There was a request for participation, a request for information on those corridors that was put out earlier this year. And the intention is that with regard to rail, the first request for proposal will come out early in the new year for the manganese line. In April, we are expecting a request for proposal on the general freight corridor that's between Gauteng and Durban. And by mid-year next year, we are expecting that we should be able to put out a call for proposals on the iron ore corridor that goes to Saldanha. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good afternoon, honourable members. The next follow-up question will come from the Honourable Boshoff.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Good afternoon, Minister. Minister, after Moody's warned of Transnet's systemic refinancing risk, government, as you rightly said, rushed through 99.6 billion in guarantees, yet this House still hasn't been given a consolidated liability management plan, a cap on guarantees, or a timetable for private sector participation, despite repeated undertakings. So, Minister, can you today confirm, yes or no, that before year-end to table a full liability management plan that caps these guarantees, identifies repayment sources, and makes every tranche conditional on measurable rail outcomes, including corridor access to our rural and historical neglected areas, together with a detailed, time-bound private sector participation roadmap with milestones so that the committee and Parliament can hold you and your department accountable for real reform and not just have another bailout cycle. South Africans really do deserve proof that these billions are rebuilding our rail systems, not just delaying its collapse. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Boshoff. Your response to that, please, Minister.
Well, I think, first of all, I've just given you a time frame for the private sector participation that is already ready. But if you didn't hear it, I'll give it to you again. So we've said that before the end of the year, we will put out a request for proposal on the dry bulk terminal at Richards Bay. Early in the new year, we will put out a request for proposal on the manganese line. In April, we will put out a request for proposal on the general freight line. And in June, we will put out a proposal on the iron ore line. We have already brought private sector operators on board in May this year, and this is obviously to increase the tonnage that we are able to transport on the Transnet network. These 11 companies collectively, we expect within 2 years, will add another 20 million tonnes onto the Transnet network. We are busy doing significant work with the World Bank and with National Treasury to look at the question of balance sheet optimization. We have also applied for short-term financing from the budget facility for infrastructure with regard to the iron ore and the coal line so that we can upgrade those lines prior to the commencement of private sector participation so that we can increase the tonnage. The current target that Transnet have set for themselves is 180 million tonnes of freight this year. And really what that is dependent on is a situation where we are able to increase the slots on the iron ore and on the coal line. Of course, the more we can increase the slots as a result of improved maintenance, the greater the revenue. So all of this work is work in progress that is being undertaken by Transnet and National Treasury. And we are doing everything in our power to make sure that the deadlines that we've given for the release of the requests for proposals for private sector participation are honoured. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. The last supplementary question on this particular set goes to the Honourable Gericke Slaanlaan. Honourable Gericke.
Yeah, thank you, Chair and colleagues. Minister, Transnet is one of the most important and strategic departments in South Africa. Billions have been pumped into it to rescue that department. And despite the theft and corruption in that enterprise, we do not really see big-scale accountability where people are brought before the courts. Are you winning the struggle against corruption? And if so, what are you doing to hold the crooks accountable? Secondly, the rail infrastructure is in a mess nationwide due to the conduct of thieves and crooks. How are you addressing this issue to assist the public towards better transport or rail infrastructure? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chirika. And then your response to that, please, Minister.
Well, I think that everybody here knows about the trial that is currently, or let me say the charges that have been preferred, that include some of the honourable members in the National Assembly who used to serve in Transnet, so I don't think we need to go there. In terms of other cases, I wish you would pose this question to the Minister of Justice. I'd be eager to hear the response. I think I've spoken at great length about the work that we're doing in PRASA, the recovery of 35 out of 40 priority passenger lines, and the effort we are putting in to conclude the other 5 passenger lines. I've also spoken at length about our plans to, in the short term, improve maintenance on the iron ore and coal lines, as well as in the longer term to attract private sector investment so that we can undertake the significant rebuild that is required in order to get these lines to where we would want them to be, to facilitate support for a modern economy that is moving in excess of 250 million tons of freight a year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Good. Minister, that brings us now to question number 317. Question 317 was asked by the Honourable Kaunda, the ANC member for KwaZulu-Natal. It relates to the transfer of certain provincial roads to SANRAL and the financial implication and some other matters. If we can have your response to question 317, please, Minister.
Thank you very much. As provincial roads are transferred to SANRAL, without an accompanying budget allocation, SANRAL must reprioritise its existing non-toll funding from National Treasury to address the immediate maintenance backlogs on these transferred roads. Provincial premiers asked to transfer roads that meet the following criteria in terms of the National Roads Act No. 7 of 1998. First of all, the road must be part of the strategic and primary road network as identified by SANRAL. Secondly, provinces may transfer roads to SANRAL because they're deteriorating and need more effective development and management than provincial or municipal authorities can provide. Thirdly, that land on which the national roads are situated must be subdivided and transferred to SANRAL. Fourthly, that the transfer requires subdivision and transfer of title deeds to SANRAL, which involves registering the transfer and ensuring that the title deeds reflect the declaration of the national road. And lastly, that provincial road authorities do not have the required funds to adequately maintain the road. There are no plans to toll these roads at present. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. And then let's ask Mr. Kaunda if he has a supplementary question to ask.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for that response, which gives hope to the South Africans, because looking at how SANRAL and its track record in delivering services in our provinces. Honourable Minister, allow me to preface my follow-up question with the appreciation of unparalleled and impeccable track record of excellence of SANRAL in road construction and maintenance. I can give testimony about KZN, about the footprints of SANRAL in each and every corner in the province have become a construction site. The decision of transferring some of these provincial roads will go a long way towards sustainable maintenance and upgrading into world-class status. So therefore, the follow-up question, Honourable Minister, is there any contingency plan to mitigate the negative impact of possible rise in the public transport fees cost due to the cost of toll gates that public transport service providers will definitely want to transfer to the passengers? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kaunda. Minister, please reply.
So, Honourable Kaunda, I have said that we're not planning to toll these regional roads that SANRAL has taken over. Obviously, in terms of the tolls on the existing national roads, those would have a what can I call it, a cost of living increase. Unfortunately, that's unavoidable because the cost of maintaining those roads at the standard required, it just goes up and up. But we're not planning at this stage to toll these regional roads that we have taken over because we don't think that would be appropriate.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's go then to the Honourable PLENARY for a supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Minister, kom ons praat vir 'n oomblik oor tolhekke. That's fine, I'll do it in English, Minister. Let's talk a moment about toll gates. Something the Western Cape doesn't know a lot about, but we who stay up north pay dearly on a monthly basis. Minister, toll gates have effectively become an additional tax due to the fact that provinces don't spend grants on road efficiency. Surely the long-term plan cannot be to maintain an endless network that continues to place further financial pressure on ordinary commuters. When can South Africans expect the systematic removal of toll gates and more effective provincial spending on road infrastructure, construction and maintenance? Toll gates must fall, Minister. Thank you, the House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable PLENARY. Over to you, Minister.
I would be lying if I said we're going to remove the toll gates on the national roads. We're not.
Thank you, Minister. We go back online now, and it's the turn of the Honourable Machubene to ask a supplementary question.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. How does this transfer align with the department's broader transport infrastructure and regional development plans? Can the department provide timelines for when decisions regarding toll implementation and community engagement will be finalized? What measures are in place to monitor SANRAL's management of newly transferred roads to ensure service delivery standards are met? Thank you very much, Honourable.
Thank you, Honourable Machubene. Please, your response, please, Minister.
We're not going to toll the regional roads that we have taken over. Not this year, not next year, not the year after. We're not going to toll them. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And let's go then to Honourable van der Berg, hopefully who has a new question.
Let's see. Thank you, Chair. Minister, as an example to my question, recently the Free State Department of Community, Safety, Roads and Transport transferred the road from Jacobsdal to Koffiefontein to SANRAL. It was then reconstructed. The road is a category B road in terms of the technical recommendations for highways. The design life of such road for such a road is 15 to 20 years with regular use and prescribed preventative maintenance interventions. However, we have manganese trucks using whatever road is best for their pocket and vehicle maintenance cost, destroying the road surface within months from completion. How can the department at least specifically tax or regulate these trucks to save the local category B roads as we eagerly anticipate for manganese and iron to move to rail freight? I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable van der Berg. Your reply to that one, please, Minister.
No, that's a very difficult question, and I suppose at the end of the day, first of all, we have to make sure that we do move on a continuous basis more of our freight onto rail. But I think that in the short term, it's going to be very difficult to prevent these vehicles from decanting onto the secondary roads. I mean, part of the reason why we've taken over some of these secondary roads is that we recognize the heavy burden of traffic that is moving on those roads, and we recognize that SANRAL is going to have to do more to maintain them more frequently. I'm not sure whether there are provisions within the National Roads Act to prevent certain vehicles from travelling on certain roads. This is a matter that I think we would need to look into because there is no doubt that some of these vehicles are causing significant damage to the road network, and one can see no other reason why they are moving on these secondary roads other than the fact that they are avoiding the toll roads.
Minister, thank you very much. That was indeed the last question to you for the afternoon. So we thank you for your presence and for taking the time to be here and answer our questions as part of your responsibility and ours. We invite you to resume your seat. We thank you again. And noting your pressing agenda, you are excused. Thank you very much, Minister. Honourable members, we do still have business to deal with, and so we will now proceed to consideration of the Public Service Amendment Bill, which is Bill number 13D of 2023. It was introduced in the National Assembly as a Section 76 bill, and the report of the Select Committee of Cooperative Governance and Public Administration thereon, which was printed in the announcement tablings and committee reports on the 27th of October, 2025. So I therefore call on the Honourable T.M. Kaunda, the Chairperson of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Public Administration, to present the committee's report in the next 10 minutes. Honourable Kaunda.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. On behalf of the collective of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance, Public Service and Administration, Human Settlement, and Water and Sanitation. Firstly, we'd like to deal with the background that the Public Service Amendment Bill is an essential piece of legislation that seeks to amend the Public Service Act of 1994 to provide for the devolution of administrative powers from executive authorities of heads of department to augment the role of the Director General and the President to support the President, to provide for a mechanism to deal with the recovery of repayment of remuneration and benefits, to clarify the role of the Public Service Commission in respect of grievances, to clarify the role of the President and the Premiers in respect of the appointment and career incidents of heads of departments, and to provide for matters connected therewith. Honourable Chairperson, on the 22nd of July 2025, the Select Committee convened public hearings on Public Service Amendment Bill. Oral submissions were made by representatives of the Local Government Advocacy and Learning Network, the Public Affairs Research Institute, the Ethics Institute, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, the New South Institute, the South Afrikaanse Onderwysing and an individual making presentations in his personal capacity as South African citizen. That was Mr. Nzusa. All provinces had briefing sessions, conducted public hearing, and submitted negotiating mandates on the object of the bill, and the Select Committee finalized the bill on the 22nd of October 2025. On the consideration of proposed amendments, the Select Committee on the 16th of September received the following proposed amendments, which were thereafter adopted by the committee. On page 3, in line 3, to delete the expression head of department, or head of department, and to substitute with the expression head of department, head of department, and head of department. On page 3, in line 9, to delete the words political office and replace it with that word which is put then political office. On page 3, in line 12, after the word secretary, to insert and not to omit the word or. On page 3, in line 12, after the word party, to insert the words of membership of parties, executive committees. In clause 2, on page 3, in line 44, after the word and to omit the word must, to insert the word shall. On the page 3, in line 56, after the word authority, to omit the word must and substitute with the word shall. In clause 4, on page 4, in line 50, to omit the word must and to substitute with the word shall. Clause 12, on page 8, in line 47, to omit expression section and substitute with the expression section 4.1 of 1B of 5. Clause 13 on page 9, from line 17, to omit paragraph and to substitute with the following paragraph by the substitution of C, by the substitution of subsection 3 of the following subsection for the purposes of subsection 1AI. This act includes any law repealed by this act. Determination of the minister includes any recommendation of Public Service Commission by section 209. Clause 14 on page 9, in line 33, to omit A and to substitute with that A. Clause 16 on page 10, in line 12, to omit the word must and substitute it with the word shall. Clause 18 on page 10, in line 30, to omit the expression subsection 2 and to substitute with the expression subsection 1. On page 11, in line 6, after the expression made, to insert the word and. Therefore, the Select Committee recommends as follows to this House. The Select Committee of Cooperative Governance and Public Administration, having considered the Public Service Amendment Bill B13B of 2022, which was referred to it on the 4th of May 2024 and classified by the Joint Tagging Mechanism as Section 76 Bill, recommends that the Council pass the bill with proposed amendments. We therefore submit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable delegates, I now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. I have noted Rule 85.2. I note that our front benches, there are 7 representatives in the front benches. There's no need, therefore, for the bells to be rung. And so the question is that the bill be agreed to. And before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. Is there any province wanting to make a declaration? Honourable members, I note no hands, so we shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favour, against, or abstain. Let's start with the Eastern Cape.
Chairperson and honourable members, I rise on behalf of the province of Legends to cast on their mandate. We vote in favour. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honourable member. The Free State.
Thank you, House Chair. Free State votes in favour.
Thank you, honourable Nue.
Thank you.
Please wait until you called. Honourable Nue, did you say you vote in favour of the bill? I'm afraid your mandate indicates that the Free State Legislature are voting against the bill. If we can just get clarity.
No, Chair. No, Chair. Let me check my record, Chair.
Honourable Nue, we will come back to the Free State. You have about a minute and a half. Gauteng.
Thank you, House Chair. Apologies for my over-efficiency earlier on. We vote in favour.
Thank you very much. Honourable Member KwaZulu-Natal.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm informed that I'll vote against, Chair.
Against. Thank you very much. The province of Limpopo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Limpopo vote in favour of the bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
No, thank you very much. Mpumalanga vote in favour of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's go then to the Northern Cape.
The Northern Cape votes in favour. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Let's go to the Northwest Province.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Northwest vote in favour.
Thank you. And the Western Cape?
Chair, the Western Cape votes against.
Thank you. Honourable Nue?
House Chair, thank you very much. I've confirmed, confused the two bills. On that one, we are voting against.
Against. Thank you very much indeed. Honourable members, we'll just wait for the detail. Thank you. That's... Honourable members, 6 provinces have voted in favour of the bill, and I therefore declare the bill agreed to in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you. It's my first bill, so thank you. Honourable delegates, we will now proceed to the second order. It's the consideration of Public Administration Management Amendment Bill. It's Bill 10B of 2023, introduced in the National Assembly as a Section 76 bill. And, of course, the report of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Public Administration thereupon, which was printed in the announcements, tablings and committee reports document of the 27th of October 2025. Once again, I call on the Honourable T.M. Kaunda, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and the Public Administration, to present the committee report. Honourable Kaunda, another 10 minutes.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, the Select Committee considered this bill that is before us, the Public Administration Management Amendment Bill, B10B of 2023, Section 76, is a critical piece of legislation that seeks to amend the Public Administration Management Act of 2014 so as to further provide for a transfer and secondment of employees, to provide clarification regarding prohibition against employees conducting business with organs of states, to provide for the National School of Governance to be constituted as a national department, to provide for the removal of employment disparities across the public administration, to provide for the coordination of mandating process for collective bargaining in the public administration, to amend the schedule so as to effect certain consequential amendments, and to provide for matters connected therewith. In relation to public participation, the bill was revived on the 29th of July 2024, and the Select Committee received a briefing from the Department of Public Service and Administration on the objects of Public Service Amendment Bill, which is Section 76. Following the department briefing session, the Select Committee invited stakeholders and interested persons to submit written comments on this bill. On the 22nd of July 2025, The Select Committee convened the public hearings on the Public Service Amendment Bill. Oral submissions were made by representatives of Local Government Advocacy and Learning Network, the Public Affairs Research Institute, the Ethics Institute, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, the New South Institute, the State Afrikaanse on reversing, and as an individual making representations in his personal capacity as South African citizens. All provinces had briefing sessions, conducted public hearings, and submitted negotiating mandates on the object of the bill, and the Select Committee finalized the bill on the 27th of October 2025 and adopted it with amendments. On consideration of proposed amendments on the 16th of September 2025, the Select Committee deliberated on written submissions and provincial mandates. The Parliamentary Legal Advisor, in collaboration with the Department of Public Service and Administration, presented the written responses to written public submissions and negotiating mandates on the objects of the bill without proposed amendments. Therefore, the committee as a collective recommends to this House as follows. Having considered the Public Administration Management Amendment Bill B10B of 2023, which was revived on the 29th of July 2024 and classified by the Joint Tagging Mechanism as Section 76 Bill, recommends that the Council pass the bill without proposed amendments. Can you protect me, Chair? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson of the Committee. Honourable Delegates, that concludes the discussion and debate on the bill. I now put the question, again noting in terms of 85.2 the population of the front benches. Therefore, the question is that the bill be agreed to. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. Do any provinces have any declarations to make? Once again, I note no hands. And so, Honourable Delegates, will now proceed to the voting on the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to. I now call on provinces to cast their votes in accordance with their mandates. When called upon, heads of delegations must please indicate if they vote in favour, against or abstain. Let's start again with the Eastern Cape.
Ndiyaphakama njengomthunywa wephondo lengqele okokuba iphondo lengqele liyawuxhasa lo mthetho sihlomele. Ngamako.
Thank you very much. The Free State.
Thank you, as Chair. The Free State votes in favour.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nue. Gauteng.
Thank you, House Chair. Gauteng supports.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
Chairperson, the KwaZulu-Natal delegation is mandated to vote against this bill.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Limpopo.
Province ya Limpopo vote in favor of this bill.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Let's try Mpumalanga.
Thank you very much, Chair. As Mpumalanga Province, we vote in favor. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's go to the Northwest.
Thank you very much, Chair. Northwest vote in favor.
Thank you very much. And Northern Cape.
Thank you, Chair. Northern Cape is consistent. We support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. And the Western Cape.
Well, Chair, Western Cape will vote against.
Against. Thank you very much indeed. Honourable members, let's get to the right place. Voting is now closed. Honourable delegates, 7 provinces have voted in favour, and I therefore declare the bill agreed to in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honourable delegates, I'd like to thank the Minister, though she's left already. I'd like to thank all MECs, the permanent and special delegates, and SALGA representatives that have availed themselves in person and online for this sitting. And honourable delegates, that concludes the business of the day, and the House is therefore adjourned. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.
Long live Duplessis.